Test corrections for Chapter 4. First thing to note, this is not a practice test. This is the actual test. So, let's go through the test. Number 1, how do slopes of two parallel lines compare? Slopes of two parallel lines are equal. Not close to equal, not very like, they are equal. So an example would be 2/3 is parallel to 2/3. Some people wanted to do the whole linear equation, so you could have y equals 2/3 x plus 7 is parallel to y equals 2/3 x minus 1. So you see that the slopes are the same. So the slope of two parallel lines are equal. Number 2, how do the slopes of two perpendicular lines compare? Perpendicular lines are opposite reciprocals. What does that mean? Well, 2/3 is perpendicular to -3/2. So this one's positive, so the opposite is negative. This one's 2/3, and the reciprocal is 3/2. So they're opposite reciprocals. Number 3, write an equation of a line with a slope of 1/4 and a y-intercept of 2. Well, that would be in y equals mx plus b form, right there, right at the top. So y equals our slope, x plus 2. That's it. 3 points right there. This one some people had difficulty with because we were not given the y-intercept. So this one, we have to use the point-intercept form, right there. Or point-slope form, excuse me. Point-slope form. So we have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Again, I always write the formula because I don't remember them all the time. So if you write the formula, you're going to get it right. Y minus 7 equals m times x minus -4. Oops, and my m, I know what my m is, it's right here. -3/2. Y minus 7, and then I have to finish this. That's not it, that's partial credit. But I have to finish it. So distribute the actually I'm going to do this first. So -3/2 times x plus 4. And now I'm going to distribute this through. So I'm going to do y minus 7 equals -3x, -3/2 x. And then 3/2 times 4. -3/2 times 4/1 equals -12/2 minus 12/2. I can simplify -12/2, so I have y minus 7 equals -3/2 x. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Finish solving this, I add 7 on both sides. And y equals -3/2 x plus 1. Oops. I should put lines over these. Okay, pause this when you need to pause it. I want to do this one in blue ink so that it stands out from the pencil one. It might get a little crowded. So I need to write a linear equation for a line that passes through these two. So what I'm first going to do, -2, 1, 2, 5. So that's a positive 4. -2 to 2 is a positive 4 also. So my slope equals 4 over 4, which is 1. Great. That's a great slope to work with. So now I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to put it into this equation right here. So I have y minus 5 equals my slope, which is 1, times x minus 2. Y minus 5 equals 1 times x is x, 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Y equals x plus 3. Alright, I'm going to go back to pencil because I would like you guys doing this in pencil. Write a line that's parallel to y equals negative 3x plus 5 and passes through that point. So my slope is negative 3 because it's parallel, and my point is negative 4, 5. So y minus 5 equals negative 3 times x minus negative 4. So I'm going to add those two, negative 3x plus 4. Distribute the negative 3. So we get negative 3x minus 12. So y minus 5 equals negative 3x minus 12. Here's my equation. Y equals negative 3x minus 7. Okay. Now we're going perpendicular to this line and passes through those points. So perpendicular, so I have a slope of 1/2. So perpendicular is the opposite reciprocal. So my slope is going to be negative because that's positive. It's going to be negative, and 1/2 would be 2 over 1. So negative 2. Then the point that I'm going to use is 7, negative 6. So my point, 7, negative 6. So I have y minus negative 6 equals negative 2 times x minus 7. Y plus 6 equals negative 2x plus 14. So I distributed the negative 2 through my equation. Now I get minus 6 minus 6. Y equals negative 2x plus 8. Alright, pause it when you need to pause it to make your corrections. Moving on to number 8. Determine whether the given lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So here we have a slope of 3, m equals 3, and here we have m equals negative 1/3. So these are perpendicular. Look, there's a hint right here. Solve for y first in order to find out what our actual slopes are. So, minus 3x minus 3x, negative 5y equals negative 3x plus 10. I still need to get y independent, so I divide by negative 5. So that cancels out. So I'm left with y equals, a negative and a negative is a positive. 3/5 x, positive and a negative is a negative. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So there's one of my equations. I'm going to take this other one. 10x, or underline just so I don't miss it. 10x. Oh, so my slope equals 3/5. 10x plus 6y equals negative 36 minus 10x minus 10x. So I get 6y equals negative 10x minus 36. Divide by 6, divide by 6, divide by 6. I get y equals negative 10 6x minus 6. 10 6 can be simplified because I can divide them both by 2. So my slope equals negative 5/3. So I have a slope of negative 5/3, and I have a slope of positive 3/5. So these are also perpendicular. Those are perpendicular. Okay. Now these are written, if you remember, y minus y1 equals slope times x minus x1. Y minus y1 equals slope times x minus x1. So this is our slope. So our slope equals 2. Our slope equals 2. So these are parallel. Make sure you let me know what your slope is. Okay, let's check this out. You kind of have the same question multiple times, but let's just look at it. The table shows the time, x, in hours students spend studying for a science exam and the grade they received. So our x values are 3, 2, 5, 1, 0, 4, 3. So that's 3 hours, 2 hours, 5 hours, 1 hour, 0 hour, 4 hours, and 3 hours. And then our grades are 84, 77, 92, 70, 60, 90, and 75. So positive, negative, or no correlation. Well, I'm going to put this stuff on the graph and check. So I'm going to do this by tens. So I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And there's no number above 100. And these I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. So I have 384, 1, 2, 3 to 84, 277, 1, 2, 60, 70, 7, 592, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 92, 170, 170, 060. Ooh, look, I have a potential y-intercept right there. 490, 1, 2, 3, 4, 90. Wow, this is pretty. 3 and 75, 1, 2, 3, and 75. So that scatter plot is pretty consistent, fairly consistent. I would say we can definitely get a line of best fit, and the line is going up to the right, so it is positive. Positive correlation. Write an equation in slope-intercept form that models the grade as a function of the hours spent studying. Sketch the graph here. So here's our graph. I already did that. So let's get a line. You know what? That might be our line right there. A little bit above, a little bit below. That's pretty darn close. So we have a y-intercept of 60. A y-intercept of 60, and now we need our slope. So I'm going to take 2 points. Let's take 0, 60. Oops. Take 0, 60 as one of them, and then should we just go 592? It's not going to be smooth, but how about 490? That might actually be easier. 490. 490. Now these are the answers for you may not be exact and you may still have gotten them correct because this is a line of best fit. So I'm just picking the numbers that I think will line up. So I have 0, 60, and 490. So this is 30 and this is 4. So my slope is 30 over 4, which is also 15 over 2. So I'll use that for my slope. So y equals 15 halves x plus 60. And again, it could be anything close. If you have 62, if your line of best fit was slightly above this, that would work. Interpret the slope and the y-intercept of the line of best fit. Well, we actually just did that. So our slope is 15.2 and our y-intercept is 60. Use your equation to predict the grade of a student who studied for 3 hours. So here's our equation, y equals 15 halves x plus 60. And we're going to plug in 3 for x. So y equals 15 halves times 3 plus 60. So y equals, and if I do 15 halves times 3 over 1, I get 45 halves. So 45 halves plus 60. So y equals, and I divide 45. Oh my goodness. 45 divided by 2. You get 22.5 plus 60. So y equals 82.5. So if someone were to study for 3 hours, they would probably get an 82.5 on their test. 3 hours, they'd probably get an 82.5. Well, oh my goodness, look at that. Here's someone who studied for 3 hours and got 75. Someone who studied for 3 hours and got 74. So that's kind of right in the middle. Well, not right in the middle, but it's pretty close. So there are your corrections for Chapter 4 test. Please make sure you include all of your work in your Chapter 4 corrections.